What's up, guys? This is Corey with the Dirt City Gym. Here today with Justin. Say hi, Justin.
Hi, everybody.
Alright, so today we're going to be going over the new set list revealed for Sun and Moon 2, which will be what we'll be getting in the Guardians Rising set releasing in May. So Justin and I are just going to run down all the cards on the list, kind of give some initial thoughts and everything like that. The list is over on Poke Beach, if anyone wants to go take a look at that. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. So we're going to get right into the list. So starting first up, we've got a Bellsprout, which we don't have a lot of information on it, so we're just going to kind of skip past that. Bellsprout, Weeping Bell. Next up is Victory Bell, which is actually kind of interesting. So obviously it's a stage 2. It's got 140 HP. The only really relevant attack is its first attack, Pollen Hazard. For 1 grass, it does 20 damage, and then your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, burned, and confused, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So in between turns, you're taking the 20 from the damage, 20 from the burn, and then 10 from the poison. So you're taking 50 in total for 1 energy, plus they're confused. So they have to flip to attack or anything like that. And if they can't do anything, then in between turns they'll take an additional 30, which is just stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, especially with like Force of the Giant Plants. Just go turn 1, Victory Bell.
Yeah.
Pollen Hazard, like, do something. And then it's got the second attack, Stick and Absorb. For grass and 2 colorless. It does 80 damage and then heal 20 damage from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active Pokemon can't retreat during their next turn. It's probably not going to be used super often, but it's kind of nifty to, like, set up things for later, like do 80 damage. The next turn, do the Pollen Hazard. Just kind of set up a knockout in between turns, going into the following turn. But we'll see. Nothing too exciting there. Alright, so next up we've got Petlil. Nothing there. Lilligant. Nothing there. Then we got Wimpod. Nothing really there. But then we go into Gliscopod, which is kind of interesting. It's almost like a Garchomp. Not quite as good as a Garchomp. But stage 1. It's grass, 130 HP. It's got the ability Armor. Damage into this Pokemon by attacks is reduced by 30, which is kind of cool. But it's only got 130 HP, so theoretically it's got 160 HP with that. And then it's got the attack Resolute Claw for grass and 2 colorless. Does 80 damage, and if the opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon GX or EX, it does 70 more damage. So it's doing 150, but it's for 3 energy. So, I mean, I guess it's fine. It's not great. You're still 2-shotting things, but you're probably going to get 1-shot relatively easily.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it's cool we have a Gliscopod card, but I don't know if it's necessarily too good. I guess you can combo it with the, you can put a Choice Band, obviously, on it. So if you're hitting an EX or GX, you're hitting 180. With the new Lurantis, the non-GX, it does an additional 20 damage, so you're hitting for 253 energy. I guess if you're going to go that route, it's not too bad, but you're needing a lot of crap in order to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So next up we have, moving into the fire Pokemon, we have Victini, which is not an identical reprint, but it's a basic reprint of old school Victini. It's got the ability Victory Star. Once during your turn, after you flip any coins for an attack, you may ignore all effects of those coin flips and begin flipping those coins again. And then you can't use this attack, you can't use more than 1 Victory Star ability each turn. So that's really cool. You know, we've got things like Pinsir, which, you know, flip a coin, if heads, return the opponent's active Pokemon back to their hand. You could get some, like, silly, like, turn 1 donks with that.
Yeah, I could definitely see this getting some play.
Yeah, I don't know about competitively how well it'll be, but you're definitely going to see it. There's going to be that guy that's always going to show up. He's going to be running Pinsir with Victini.
Yep.
I mean, I guess also, if you're running Incineroar GX, his second attack, I think it's like flip 2 coins and it does 80 damage for each heads.
Okay, yeah.
So if you do that, you know, you're hitting for 160, 190 with a Choice Band. Theoretically, assuming you get 2 out of 4 heads, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So not too bad. But, you know, it's kind kind of whatever. And it's got the attack V-Flame for a fire and a colorless. It does 50 damage though. Just kind of basic stuff. You're only using Victini as a bench sitter for that ability. Moving on, we've got Turtonator GX. I think that's how you say that. So it's 190 HP. It's a basic. It's got the first attack for 2 colorless, Trap Shell. It does 20 damage, and if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack during your opponent's next turn, place 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon, which I'm just going to say, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Just like a perpetual bursting balloon effect. Not only do you have that, so it's only doing 20, so if they attack into it, it's doing 100, but because it's a basic and it's a fire type, you have access to Volcanion EX, so you can start stacking that up with steam ups. So you can go from 20 to 50 to 80, plus the 8 damage counters. Start doing stupid damage on turn 1, turn 2, I guess theoretically because it's 2 energy. Just for 2 energy. So I think it's probably going to be one of those cards that's definitely going to see some play in like Volcanion decks for sure.
Yeah.
Being that it's so splashable for just 2 colorless, it kind of has that Tauros effect of just being a wall. Just put it up there, Trap Shell for DCE, and just see what happens. Make them Lysander around it or something. And then it's got the attack. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I can definitely see that getting thrown in Volcanion.
Yeah, that's.
I think that'd be a good little combo.
That's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
The next up, we've got Crimson Flame for 2 fire and a colorless. Does 160 damage. You can discard 2 fire energy attached to this Pokemon. I mean, I guess if you need to do big damage, it's not a bad option. I mean, for 3 energy, it's dealing more damage than Volcanion EX does.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still stack it with steam ups. So getting those GX knockouts would be a little bit more accessible, I guess. Which is pretty cool.
And you have that time to power it up by using that first attack.
Right, you can do that. I mean, you can sit on the bench with Baby Volcanion. You gotta wait. What a lot of different ways to go about it. And then, I mean, obviously removing the energy from it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
If you're running Volcanion, just retreat it, bring up the baby, power it up for next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad. And then finally, it's got the GX attack for 1 Fire Energy Nitro Tank. Attach 5 basic Fire Energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Again, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Just go like turn 1. I don't know, or by turn 2, I guess it might make a little bit more sense. After turn 1, you do like 4 steam ups and do all kinds of stupid stuff. The next turn, bring up Tortonator, Nitro Tank, load up a bunch of Volcanion EXs. Fortunately, it doesn't deal damage, because if it dealt damage, then that card would be broken. But in 190 HP, it's bulky. I mean, it's Lapras bulky. You can put a Fighting Fury Belt on it, make it 230. Just a big 230 tank that you don't want to attack into the Trap Shell, so pretty good stuff. Alright, moving on, we've got a Alolan Sandshrew. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's an Alolan Pokemon, so it has a attack that doesn't cost anything. So it's Defense Curl, flip a coin of heads, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks during your opponent's next turn. And then it's got the attack Ice Ball for water and 2 colorless, just 30 damage, so just kind of basic stuff. But really the good one to look at is a Alolan Sandslash. So it's 110 HP. Stage 1, it's got the ability Snow Shovel. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may draw 1 card, which is really cool. Those can stack, obviously, so if you have a bench of a couple Alolan Sandslashes, you can continually just keep drawing cards from your deck. That's really the only use for it. It's got the attack Smash Turn for water and 2 colorless. Does 50 damage and switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So it's kind of the Dawn Fan thing, but really you're only using it to draw cards. What do you think, Justin?
I don't know how much play it's going to see. I think it's a decent card, but
it's definitely a pre-release champion.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it'll see too much play either. But I guess in a water box type deck, it wouldn't be awful.
No, it's just having that space on your bench and in the deck, of course.
For stage 1.
Yep.
Alright, next up we've got a Alolan Vulpix. He's got the same thing. Being an Alolan Pokemon, he's got the free attack, so Guidance. Search your deck for Pokemon, reveal them, and then put them into your hand, which is really cool. Obviously you're in bait at that point, but kind of force the in if they have it. If not, then you can kind of set up for next turn. And then we've got Alolan Ninetales GX, which obviously evolves from the Alolan Vulpix. So 210 HP. That's not super bulky. I mean, I guess it's a stage 1, so it's about the same bulkiness as Lurantis. But it's got the attack Ice Blade for 2 colorless. It does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So Snipe, it's not bad. And then it's got the attack Blizzard Edge for 2 water and a colorless. It does 160 damage, and then you discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon, which is not great.
Yeah.
And then it's got the GX attack, Clear Gate GX, 2 colorless, move all damage counters from this Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. Which, that's kind of cool, in theory. If you were, like, Wailord bulky, like 250, I could see it maybe a little bit more effective. But at 210, it's just kind of whatever. You're not really knocking anything out at that point. At that point, you're just going to use the Blizzard Edge just to do the 160. But I mean, I guess if you had to use it, Ice Blade isn't bad.
No, it's not terrible.
Things. Yeah, but I mean, again, I guess potentially you could see room in a Water Box deck, but I think you have better options.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the Ninetales that's not the GX? Is that the new replacement for Regice that's coming out? Right.
In concept, yes. I don't think that's in this list, but so it's basically got the Safeguard ability from Carbink. It can't take damage or effects of attacks from EXs or GXs.
Okay.
But it's its ability, not its attack, so it's a little better.
Yeah.
But it's a stage 1, so. So moving on, we've got Delibird. Nothing really. I guess it's got the attack Gangan present. That's a really dumb name. For a colorless, flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for 1 card and put it into your hand. Again, it's kind of cool, but you're just asking to be in at that point. Snorunt, it's kind of whatever. Glalie, 120 HP. It's got the attack Crunch for 2 water, does 40 damage, and then flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's okay. And then Raging Ice Ball. For 3 water, does 70 damage, and if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does an additional 80 damage, so you're hitting for 150, which is kind of cool. But it's at 3 energy at that point. Again, you can scale it up a little bit with choice bands and things like that, but I think you have a better option if you want to be dealing that kind of damage.
Yep.
And there's, I mean, again, you have to have the contingency of having damage counters on it, which is Glalie's thing, kind of, I guess. So next up, we've got Vanillite, Vanillish, and then Vanillux. We'll look at Vanillux. It's a stage 2, 140 HP, which isn't great. It's got the first attack, Hail, for 1 water. This attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That could be really good. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a stage 2.
Yep.
And then it's got the attack, Frozen Breath, for 3 water. Does 80 damage, and you may discard 2 water energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Again, in concept, it's a really cool card. That's a really cool ability of being able to paralyze, and the consistent, like Silent Fear damage almost. But you're dealing with a stage 2 with 140 HP.
Yeah, it's big downsides to that.
Yeah, again, this is pre-release MVP kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, whoever gets the full Vanillux line is good to go.
Yeah.
Would not be surprised to see one of these be the pre-release promo, to be honest with you. Next up, we've got Heliptile and Heloisk. We don't have information on those yet, so nothing to really go to. Now we're kind of getting into some of the really cool stuff. First up, we've got Tapu Koko GX. So it's a basic 170 HP. It's got the ability Arrow Trail. Once during your turn, before you attack, When you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may move any number of lightning energy attached to your Pokemon to this Pokemon. If you move any energy, switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So just go over the ability first. That's really cool. By turn 2, between max elixirs and things like that, you can really load up this guy and get him up in the active. Obviously we've got Electrode, which we could do onto it as well, and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's very viable.
Yes, very. Especially because it's lightning type. We don't really have like a super viable lightning attacker other than maybe Jolteon, but that's only capping at 70. And Raikou, but Raikou still has its limitations.
Yeah.
So it's got it's got 2 attacks. One's a GX attack, one's its regular attack. But its first attack is Sky Claw for 2 lightning and a colorless. It does 130 damage. Again, it's kind of high for 130, but being able to get all that energy on him by like turn 2 with max selection and things like that, it's not as hard to manage. And also relevant, being that it hits for 130, it one-shots any Eeveelouse or Lugia at that point as well.
Yeah.
So anything weak to lightning is going to get knocked out, because with weakness that's hitting for 260, which is one-shotting.
I mean, I think it's a good card.
I think it's a really good card.
Overall, I think it's going to be one of the better ones out of the set.
I think you could definitely see like a Turbo Tapu Koko list, like just getting energy on the board stupid quick.
Yeah.
Just like cycling out your Tapus, which that's something you can do. I mean, if you're running like 3 to 4 Tapu Koko GXs, load up one, get up in the active, deal your damage. Next turn, drop another one. He gets all the energy. He goes to the active. You max potion the one that you just took the energy off. And just kind of cycle him like that.
Yep.
Which is really cool. And then it's got the GX attack, Tapu Thunder, for 2 lightning and a colorless. And it does 50 damage, times the number of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. Which again, that's really cool. Especially depending on the deck you're playing against. I mean, just imagine doing that against like Turbo Darkrai. Like, alright, you have 10 energy on the field. There's 500 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not one-shotting you with my regular attack, but Tapu Thunder is going to take you.
It's a good one. But it is highly dependent upon the situation.
Yes.
But still, the entire rest of the card makes up for that, too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those GX attacks that if you need to like take something out, that's a way to take it out. Like, obviously, you're probably going to be two-shotting a lot of things with the Sky Claw, but if you ever need to reach, you can just Tapu Thunder and take care of things.
Yep.
And then, being that it's a Tapu, and then we're getting all these Tapus and things like that, just to mention, all the Tapus have no weakness and no resistance. So it's pretty good stuff.
Yep.
So Zygarde, Lycanroc, not really touching the Tapu. So moving on, some cards that you might actually really like, Justin. So first we got Slowpoke. Nothing to say about Slowpoke because we have no information. But Slowbro. So 110 HP, stage 1. It's got the first attack, Amnesia. For a colorless, it does 20 damage. And then choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. That Pokemon can't use that attack during your opponent's next turn. That's going to be annoying as shit.
It is, for sure.
Like, it's just stupid. Like, okay, I'm going to Lysander up your Darkrai. Bring up Slowbro. Amnesia. Like, alright, can't attack me next turn.
Yep.
What are you going to do?
I'm definitely going to be using this. There's no doubt about that.
And then it's got the attack, Endeavor. For a Psychic and 2 colorless. It does 50 damage. And if this Pokemon is poisoned or burned, it does an additional 80 damage. So you're hitting for 130. It's whatever. You're using this for Amnesia.
Yeah.
Just to be annoying, do a little bit of chip damage, and then set up a knockout later. And interestingly enough, it does not specify with Amnesia that you can't do Amnesia again the following turn.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes like with Mewtwo with like Barrier, it says you can't do this consecutive turns or something.
Mm-hmm. No, this one you can just...
You can just like... You can't do nothing. Or force them to like find an answer. It's really cool stuff. Moving on, we've got Gothita, Gotharita, and Gothitelle, which we don't have any information on those. Gothitelle is usually a pretty good card, so be curious to see when those get released, what that actually does. Moving on, another card that I'm actually really excited about. So first up we got Machop. Nothing super interesting about Machop. It's Machoke that we're really interested in. So stage 1, 100 HP. It's got the ability Intimidating Stance, prevent all damage, and the placement of damage counters, which is very specific, from your opponent's attacks and abilities to your bench Pokemon. So it's basically shutting off Decidueye.
Yep.
Something else that's shutting off Greninja. Shutting off Trevenant. Granted, it's only shutting it off from the bench, but that's still super, just really awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be very relevant.
Especially with as much as Decidueye is like just taking over right now. It's basically a Mr. Mime plus, like, because of the damage counters, which is, again, I don't think I've seen a card that prevents the damage counters specifically.
Yeah.
It's one of those cards that, depending on how big Decidueyes and things like that keep growing, you could possibly see like a 1/1 Machop Machoke line in majority of decks. Kind of take over that Garbodor role of just...
All I've seen online lately has been Decidueye, and it's just flooded it.
It's pretty dominant right now, so having a card like that just like tells it, okay, cool, bro. It's pretty good. And then Machamp, which I actually wanted to talk about Machamp because Machamp actually is decent. So it's got 160 HP for stage 2, which is pretty good for a non-GX stage 2. Its first attack is Settling Score. For 2 fighting, it does 20 damage, and then it does an 80 more damage for each prize card your opponent took during their last turn, which is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
So if they knock out like an EX or a GX, you're hitting for 180 for 2 energy, because they're taking those 2 prizes. Add fighting energy and things like that, or strong energy, choice bands and things like that. You're able to return a one-shot back onto an EX or a GX pretty efficiently for just that 2 energy.
Yeah,
good. And then it's got, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I don't think it'll be, by itself, but it's gonna be a great, tech for some of the decks that are out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not gonna get up here and say people are gonna be running mono Machamp decks, but it's not a bad option if you're running a fighting deck. You might already be running a Machoke to prevent things like Decidueye. So putting in 1 or 2 Machamps isn't awful, especially because its attack is only 2 fighting. So it's not a bad little attacker. And then it's got the attack Submission for 3 fighting, does 150 damage, and the Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. It's not great, but 150 damage is a little higher than what we were looking at earlier, which most of it is sitting at like 130, 150. Obviously, you can boost it up with strong energies. So with 2 strong energies, you're hitting for 190, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty good stuff. And then we've got Nose Pass, which we don't have information on. Barboach, which we don't have information on. Whiscash, which I know you wanted to talk about Whiscash.
I'm super excited about this card.
So 130 HP, stage 1, fighting type, which is pretty cool. So 2 fighting and a colorless. Has Water Pulse, which is just weird reading Water Pulse on a fighting Pokemon. So it does 60 damage, and then your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. But that's not what we're doing this for, right? Doing it for the second attack. Landslide. For a fighting and 3 colorless, it does 100 damage, and then discard the top 3 cards of your deck. This attack does 100 more damage times the number of energy discarded. So you're looking at like a new version of Typhlosion. A very more expensive Typhlosion. But, you could potentially be hitting for like 400 damage, which is stupid.
Yeah. And more with strong energy. I mean, it's
exactly.
Which,
you don't really need to be hitting anything more than 300.
No.
But, what? Just throw those strong energies in there.
Yeah.
For 460. Whatever, it's cool.
It's ridiculous.
With the choice band.
It's just, can you get it set up?
You need to get it set up. That's a lot of energy commitment on a stage 1. It's a stage 1, so it's not that bad, I guess.
Yeah.
DCEs can go on it, obviously. Strong energy, regular energy. It's one of those cards, like, is it going to be super competitive? No.
No.
But you're going to see it. Justin's going to play it.
I'm going to play it, for sure.
That's alright, so moving on. We got Probass, no info. Clefairy, Clefable. Again, nothing there. Then we got Comfey, or Comfey, I don't know how you actually say that, whatever. It's actually kind of cool. So it's 70 HP, it's basic. It's got the ability Flower Shield. As long as this Pokemon is in play, each of your Pokemon with any fairy energy attached to it can't be affected by special conditions. And then remove all special conditions already on those Pokemon whenever you play Comfey. So it's really cool, especially, we're kind of making that shift where special conditions are becoming a thing again, especially with Burn and things like that. So
yeah,
if you're running a fairy deck, you're going to be running probably one of these guys, maybe two.
Yeah, that'd be a good deck.
Yeah, and then I just noticed it's got the attack, which you're never, ever going to use this. It's for a fairy and a colorless. It's Sweet Kiss. It deals 30 damage, and then your opponent draws a card.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
That's awful.
No, thank you. We'll be moving on. You're definitely using it for that ability.
Yes.
Okay, so next up, we've got Drampa, which is a dragon type this time. Drampa GX is colorless. So it's got the attack, it's got 120 HP first of all, it's a basic. Its first attack, a mass, for a colorless. Search your deck for a basic energy card and attach it to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. That's pretty cool. If you go first, attach energy, just go get it, get set up for next turn. And then its second attack, Power Cyclone, for 3 colorless, does 80 damage, and then move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So it's basically Y Cyclone, which is really cool.
Yep.
Especially because it doesn't specify what energy. And then Drampa being a dragon type, you can put double dragon energy on it. And then Power Cyclone, the double dragon energy, onto like a Giratina or something like that, which is pretty cool. Will it be super playable? I don't know, maybe.
It's
we don't
possible.
have a lot of great dragons right now, but it's not bad. I wish it dealt a little bit more damage, but it's a basic, so it's fine.
Yep.
Alright, next up, and I'm going to butcher these names, but Jangma O, and Hakama O, we don't know what these are yet, but basically we're working our way up to Como O GX, which is the dragon type GX. So it's got 240 HP, which is a little on the low side. We're kind of spoiled with Solgaleo and Lurantis, or Solgaleo and Lunala with 250.
Yep.
So it's in Decidueye territory with 240. Its first attack is a colorless Adamantine Press. Does 30 damage, and then during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. Which is kind of cool. If you're going to be running this card, I guess it's not bad. And then it's got the attack Shred for a Lightning, a Fighting, and 2 colorless. Since it's a dragon, we can do DCE or a double dragon energy. Kind of get past that. There's 130, and this attack isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's a basic Shred, like from Hydreigon and things like that. It's not that great for 130 damage. It's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Then it's got the GX attack, Fierce Uppercut, for the same cost. So a Lightning, a Fighting, and 2 colorless. Does 240 damage. So that's okay. I mean, we're talking about, like, you're still not one-shotting, like, Solgaleo, Lunala, and Incineroar, things like that, but just about everything else you're going to be taking a one-shot. Which, again, I don't think it makes it super viable, because it's still only capping at 130 with its regular attack.
Yeah.
And it's weak to Fairy.
Do you want to waste your GX attack on that?
Right. Again, if you need to take a knockout, whatever, but there's enough Pokemon that have regular attacks that can take those knockouts. I feel like a lot of the really good GX attacks, with the exception like Mad Bull, really like super strong supportive GX attacks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of whatever. I mean, I'd rather Soul Burst and get my 5 energy and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm not highly anticipating seeing that get a lot of play. I mean, I guess you could build the deck with this and then the Drampa we talked about earlier. And just kind of set up Como-O, so get it like do the 240 by turn 2, I guess maybe turn 3.
Yeah.
But kind of reaching for that. So next up we have Chansey, which is a colorless. We don't have anything on that. Blissey, 160 HP. It's got the ability Farm Fresh Eggs, which is like one of the coolest ability names. Once during your turn, before you attack, when you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may heal 80 damage from your active Pokemon. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then it's got the attack. So, first of all, that's got to mean Chansey has got to have like a double edge attack that deals damage to itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Chansey always does, but I mean, that's just like confirming it. But then Blissey's got the attack double edge itself for 4 colorless. Does 160 damage, and this Pokemon does 80 damage to itself, which is okay, whatever. No one's gonna run this. Just to be real.
Yeah.
And it's got a 4 retreat cost. Like, nope. I think we're
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
We'll just move along. Alright, next up we've got Komala, the Panda Bear Pokemon thing. It's 80 HP, which is really low. And it's got the ability Certain Sleep. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, when you attach energy from your hand to this Pokemon is now asleep. On everything else, it'd be kind of like whatever. But then it's got the attack Hypno Ball or Hypno Roll for 3 colorless. It does 100 damage, and this attack can only be used if this Pokemon is asleep.
Okay.
If this Pokemon isn't asleep, this attack does nothing. Maybe if it didn't have 80 HP.
Yeah, maybe.
And the attack didn't cost 3.
Yep.
Like, if you want to go that route, just run Snorlax, like Snorlax GX.
It's not going to get played.
Yeah, no, and it's not at all. It's a cute card, I guess. I mean, it's a koala bear. But, you know. Whatever.
Yeah, that's about where it ends.
Yeah, that's about it. Alright, so now we're getting into some trainer cards. So first up, we've got Energy Lotto, which this one is a new card. So it's kind of cool. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. If there's any energy cards there, you may choose one, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. It's almost like Max Elixir.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, that's not great. But then I like read it again, and it doesn't specify, so you can get special energy from it.
So yeah.
So it's not bad.
Is it
like,
the top
DCE.
7 cards?
Uh-huh.
So you get that extra card over Max Elixir?
Yeah, except it has to go to your hand.
Yeah.
You're not just instantly putting it on the bench. But, I mean, again, if you need to get a DCE, I guess, it's not bad. If you're running, like, a deck that's super special energy reliant, it might not be bad. Passimian, yeah. Like Vespiquen, things like that. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it'll be played, but it's not a bad option.
No, not
next
too
up,
bad.
we've got Field Blower, which this one's the really good one. So this is our tool removal. So it's just a reprint of an older card, Windstorm. And basically what it says is choose up to any 2 combination of Pokemon Soul cards and Stadium cards in play, and discard them.
Yep.
So again, finally, we've got tool removal. Everyone can shut up about Garbodor.
Yeah. Finally.
We have really good tool removal because it removes 2 tools or a Stadium. So you can like get rid of a Floatstone and a Stadium or any kind of combination of that. I don't want to like get into it too much. I already posted a video last night if anyone wants to go look at that. Moving on, we've got Hala, which is our first like supporter. So shuffle your deck or shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 4 cards. And if you've already used a GX attack this game, draw 7 cards instead.
Okay.
It's one of those cards. It's like, it's good. It's not bad, but I'd rather have Sycamore.
Yeah, I can see that. My only justification for it is if you're going to use Solgaleo's GX real early.
Yeah. I mean, in those kind of situations, it wouldn't be bad. But,
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's very specific. I mean, still at that point, I'm kind of like, I think I'd rather have Lily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or even Ilma, where it's a guaranteed 3 or 7.
Yeah.
Without those special conditions, but, you know, I could see it being used maybe in a post-Sycamore world, if we don't get anything to replace Sycamore.
Yep. It's just conditional.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in certain decks you might see a one-of, but I'm not super anticipating it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got our first stadium, Aether Paradise conversion area. So each player's basic grass and lightning Pokemon take 30 less damage from opponents' Pokemon attacks, which that's really cool.
Yeah.
Outside looking in, it's really cool. For someone that's tired of playing against Decidueye, you're like, I know, I don't need that.
Yep.
I mean, if we're losing like rough seas and things like that during next rotation, put this in a deck that runs like lightning Pokemon. It kind of takes the place of, so it's not bad. Certain situations, put this in like a Raikou deck, I guess, because he's already preventing 20 with his ability, then prevent an additional 30, so it's 50. Throw an Assault Vest on that sucker, prevent 90.
Yeah.
You could find ways to do it. But in like a Lurantis like specific deck where you don't need like Forest of Giant Plants or something like that, I could definitely see this being played.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Not too bad. Alright. Scrolling down, we've already seen all these. These are just like the full arts and stuff. We're getting a secret rare full art leaf blower. Or field blower, excuse me. The image of the card is a leaf blower. We're getting a full art secret rare max potion, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
We're getting the secret rare lightning energy, which just looks like a gold card with like a lightning symbol in the middle of it. Alright, now we're moving on to the next set of stuff. So first up, we've got Phantump. There's not like a lot super relevant about this Phantump, except that Pokemon's dumb, and they printed a grass Phantump, which means that in Expanded, you can run grass Phantump, force the giant plants, and like evolve into Trevenant turn 1 and still have your ability, or your supporter for the turn.
Oh god.
Like, why? Just stop.
There's not much to say about that.
Yeah, no, like, that's Expanded. We're not going to talk about Expanded. You know, Item Lock Trevenant's not a thing right now, so we don't have to worry about it, but that's annoying. And then we've got, okay, so Trevenant, and this is a grass Trevenant as well. So 120 HP. It's got the attack Poltergeist for 2 colorless. It does 30 damage. Your opponent reveals his or her hand. This attack does 30 damage times the number of trainer cards in your opponent's hand, which is really cool. You could play this in like a Vileplume deck. Like, you're already going to need the item lock, so they can't play that crap out of their hand anyway.
Yeah.
And Poltergeist for like big one-shots. Not too bad, I don't think.
And it's viable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'd be super playable, but
I don't know.
if you're running like a heavy like Vileplume deck, I could see people running like a 2-2 line of these guys. Just so you have another attacker that's not an EX or a GX. So next up, we've got Litwick, Lampent, and then Chandelure. Chandelure is kind of cool. It's got the ability Shady Move, which again, that's a really cool ability name, I think. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may move 1 damage counter from either player's Pokemon to another Pokemon, yours or your opponent's. So that's kind of cool. It'd be better if it was more than 1, but it's something. I don't see it being played though.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Salandit and Salazzle. Salazzle's got the ability Hot Poison, which is another really cool name. Once during your turn, before you attack, when you play this card to evolve one of your Pokemon, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and burned, which is really cool.
Ooh, of course.
Like,
yep.
Yeah, instant 30 damage in between turns because of the poison and the burn. So it's kind of annoying to deal with, but pretty cool. So we've got Tentacool and Tentacruel. No information there. Wailmer and Wailord. We have finally a non-EX Wailord. Oh, and then the Tony's MVP. We got Wishy-Washy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they had to print another basic Wishy-Washy, like non-EX, non-GX, but whatever.
I don't know. That was kind of ridiculous.
So it's got and this is an instantly better Wishy-Washy too, if you've got to, rank the Wishy-Washy cards. So it's got the ability Schooling. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may switch this Pokemon with a Wishy-Washy GX in your hand. And then it keeps all energy, damage counters, whatever was attached to Wishy-Washy, which is pretty cool. And then it's got the attack Sharpshooting for 1 water. It does 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, so this Wishy-Washy is infinitely better than the other Wishy-Washy.
Yeah, I guess if you want to go like that.
If you've got to use Wishy-Washy, man. And then, of course, now we have Wishy-Washy GX. Just cuz. So it's a basic 210 HP, which is fat.
I was so depressed when I saw this card.
Yeah, so much potential, right?
Yeah.
So 210 HP with the Fighting Fury Belt. You've got 250 HP basic Pokemon. You've got Wailord. It's got the really cool attack Water Gun for 1 water. Does 20 damage. It's real
Big
fatty,
moves. Right? Big moves.
And then, here's the jump. Its second attack, 3 water and 2 colorless. It's making a big jump. Does 120 damage. And discard a special energy card attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. The effect of the attack is really cool. If it didn't cost 5.
Yeah.
And it was specific 3 water energy. So whatever.
Yep.
And then it's got the attack.
5 energy.
Yeah. For 5 energy, I'm going to discard your energy and not one-shot majority of things.
Yep.
Then it's got Blue Surge GX for the same cost, so 3 water and 2 colorless. Does 220 damage. And then you move all energy cards attached to this Pokemon to your bench Pokemon any way you like. It's kind of cool. It still costs a stupid amount at 5 energy. Even with Aqua Patch, which we'll get into later. You need 2 Aqua Patches and a main attachment and a DCE. Whatever.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like they could have done so much better with this card.
Tony and I were talking about this. If you're gonna run this card, you gotta run it with Solgaleo GX.
I could see that making it more viable.
That way you can move all your energy up to Solgaleo or something. I don't know. I'm reaching again.
It's not gonna happen.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's gonna be, if you're gonna play this card, you're gonna play it to be the wall for 210, 250 with the belt, and then if you're running that stadium, it prevents 30 damage, so you got a 280 HP basic. Cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
Next up,
it's sad.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's
sad.
I never had hopes for Wishy-Washy to begin with, but all those dreams have been crushed. So next up, we've got Alolan Geodude, which is just really weird to see Geodude as a lightning type. But it's got the attack Rock Polish. It's a free attack. During your next turn, this Pokemon's retreat cost is 0, which is pretty cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We got a Alolan Graveler, no information there. We've got a Alolan Golem, so 160 HP, stage 2. It's got the first attack, Electro Rock Wrecker, which is kind of a ridiculous name. For a lightning and 2 colorless, it does 80 damage. And then flip a coin. For each lightning energy attached to this Pokemon, this attack does 80 damage times the number of heads. We're getting back into that Fliptini territory.
Yeah.
Load this dude up with 3 lightning energy. You do 240 damage, presuming you hit all the heads.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
It's
got
viable.
Again, I don't know about viable, but it's playable. you can make a deck with it.
Yeah.
And then it's got the
Not going to
attack,
see competitive play.
No, not at all. Heavy Bomber for lightning and 3 colorless. Does 200 damage. And then does 30 less damage times the amount of energy in the retreat cost of your opponent's active Pokemon. Which is like the most clunkiest thing I've ever read. It's just super awkward. So sure, you could hit for 200, but theoretically you're probably hitting more like 170. Like, like at the best, you're hitting for 170. Probably more reasonably hitting for 140. But at that point, you're doing it for 5 energy. So at that point, just use the first attack and hope you get heads.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got Trubbish. Yeah, they brought these suckers back.
Of course they did.
Trubbish. It's got the attack, what is it, Stomp Off for 1 psychic. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then it's got Garbodor. Garbodor is stupid. Just gonna put that out there now. So 120 HP. Stage 1. Its first attack. Trash Vantula. Or Trash Avalanche, excuse me. Can't read. Trash Avalanche. Just absorb that for a second. So, costs 1 psychic. It does 20 damage times the number of item cards in your opponent's discard pile.
Oh, why?
Yeah, that's stupid.
That is just ridiculous.
For 1 energy.
I don't get it.
Removal now.
It's just terrible.
So they're like, oh, you wanted tool removal because of Garbodor? Cool. Now this Garbodor's better because you remove those tools.
Yep.
Whatever.
That's, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, think about most decks that are just like super item heavy reliant with Ultra Balls and Via Seekers and things like that. Like, you're going to be hitting for 100, 120, 140 pretty easily for 1 energy. It's dumb. So next up, we've got a Mimikyu. Not really a lot to go there. We're just not even going to get into that. Delmise, which is kind of cool. 120 HP, it's a basic. It's got the ability Metallurgy. As long as this Pokemon is in play, each of your Metal Pokemon's attack do 10 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon. So it's basically Regirock for Metal Pokemon, which is pretty cool. And then we got big money of the set, Tapu Lele GX.
I hate this card so much.
Talk about bringing the format slow, right?
Yeah, this is just... I was
this
mad.
Is the big money card. So 170 HP. It's basic. It's Psychic type. It's got the ability Wonder Touch. Basically Stellar Guidance. But once during your turn, before you attack, you may play this card from your hand onto your bench. You may search for your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So it's Jirachi at that point, right? We're all good. What? Just Jirachi. It's fine.
Yeah, it's okay at this point.
It's got the attack. Energy Drive for 2 colorless. Does 20 damage times the number of energy cards attached to both active Pokemon. So, and it's got X-Ball.
Yeah, this is where they said screw you.
Right. But also, the caveat being, this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So it's probably more similar to Arrow Ball of a Lugia at that point, because Lugia is colorless, so it's not hitting for weakness on anything anyway.
Yeah.
But still. It's Jirachi with an attack, like, cool.
Yeah, it's a Jirachi you're actually going to get the hit with.
Right. Like, you could make a deck around this stupid thing.
Yep.
And then, just because, it's got the GX attack, Kapu, or I think it's probably supposed to be Tapu Cure, but it's saying Kapu Cure, for 1 Psychic. Restore all HP to 2 of your bench Pokemon. Because, you know,
yep.
Let's just make that card even better, right?
Yeah, let's just totally screw everyone's day.
Right. And just to, cap it off, being that it is a Tapu, has no weakness, no resistance, and 1 retreat cost.
I have a feeling this card is going to be the bane of the format.
This is like, I don't know if it'll ever quite get to Shaman proportions of expensive, but if there's a card that's going to do that, it's this card.
Yes, I have
Not only that,
no doubt about that.
because we have a basic form of it, we have a full art form of it, and we have a hyper rare form of it.
Yep.
So it's just like, whatever. Just keep things the same. Okay, moving on. We got Gligar, nothing to talk about there. Glysker, nothing to talk about there. Pancham, no information there. We got a Rockruff, so sell all those promos, because we're getting a basic Rockruff. Then we get a Lycanroc GX. This is the Midnight form. So it's got 200 HP, and it's got the ability Bloody Eye. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. So it's our Lysander effect.
Yep, it's
and this
nice.
is Lysander, not Escape Rope or Repel, where they get to pick, you get to pick. Excuse me, so it's definitely the Lysander effect. It's especially pretty cool because we're losing Lysander theoretically rotation.
Yeah.
Then it's got the attack Claw Swipe for a fighting and 2 colorless. Does 110 damage. It's kind of whatever. Obviously, you can boost it with strong energies and things like that. And then it's got the GX attack Death Rogue for a fighting and a colorless. Does 50 damage, and it does 50 damage times the number of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Which, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, if you need to take a knockout, you're probably going to get it. I mean, presuming they have a full bench of 5, you're hitting for 250 for 2 energy, plus with strong energies.
Yeah.
So not too bad. And I think the artwork is really cool, actually.
It was a good looking card.
Yeah, not a bad looking card. So next up, we've got I think it's pronounced Minor. I'm not 100% sure there, but so it's fighting type, 70 HP. Its first attack is Swift. For colorless, it does 20 damage, and this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, resistance, or any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Just a regular switch attack. We've seen that 1,000 times. But then it's got the attack Cosmoplosion. For 3 fighting, it does 190 damage, and then this Pokemon is knocked out. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Start throwing it up there. So, because it's a basic, you can put a Fighting Fury Belt on it. So with a Fighting Fury Belt, you're dealing 200 damage. With a Choice Band, you're dealing 220. With a Strong Energy, throw another 20 on that. So you're going 230, or 250, or excuse me, 240. And then you're just kind of going up from there. So you can take out a GX knockout like that, like stupid quick. Obviously, you're giving up a prize, but if you pick your moment to play it, it's a good sacrifice.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. Like, it's gonna be one of those, like, 1 of, 2 of in a deck. Like, if you're making a fighting deck, maybe run like a Ninja Boy or something and just, like, Ninja Boy this guy out and blow it up. Which would be kind of cool. But it's kind of weird, though. It's weak to lightning and resistance to fighting.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of whatever, right?
Yeah, it's a little off.
Yeah, okay, so moving on, we've got Murkrow and Honchkrow. We don't have any information on those, so nothing to talk about. And then the card, like, I don't even want to talk about it, because I hate this card already. Sableye. So, 60 HP. And it's got the attack Limitation for 1 dark. Your opponent cannot play supporter cards from his or her hand during their next turn. Like, why?
Because they really wanted to piss us off.
And not only... It'd be one thing if this card was just like in a vacuum, but Decidueye Vileplume is already a thing. Just think about putting this stupid card in Decidueye Vileplume. Like, you already can't play items because of Vileplume. Now you can't play supporters. And guess what? I've got my army of freaking owls on the bench sniping you away.
It's a beautiful, terrible thing.
Yeah, and it has no weakness or resistance, you know. just cuz too.
Well, why not?
Exactly. So moving on. I don't even want to talk about that card anymore. Pangoro and Beldum, Metang, and then we've got Metagross GX, which this is what I'm actually a little excited for. So it's 250 HP, so we're back in that big bulky GX. It's got the ability Geotech System. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may attach either or a metal energy card from your discard pile to your active Pokemon, which is really cool.
Yeah.
We haven't really had much energy acceleration for either Psychic or Metal Pokemon, and now we have it for both. So it's really cool.
It's a great ability.
Yeah, it's a really good ability. Like, it's one of those just by itself. It's a really good ability and enough reason to run the card in particular decks. Run this stupid thing in, like, Solgaleo. Like, just recover your energy back after you attack and everything.
Yeah.
Then you got Giga Hammer for 2 metal and a colorless. Does 150 damage. And this Pokemon can't use Giga Hammer during your next turn. It's kind of whatever. Kind of a basic attack. And then it's got the GX attack algorithm for 1 colorless. So the card is already splashable. Search your deck for up to 5 cards and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just 5 cards.
Just 5 cards. Because like you really need more than 5, right?
Yep.
Hope they don't play in.
Yeah.
But if you can get that off without them playing it in, like, geez Louise.
But you're most likely gonna get end.
Well, again, you're really using it for that ability.
Yeah.
But having that as like in your back pocket isn't a bad option.
No, and anybody who can get that off, I mean, props
there's
to you.
gonna be like in standard, I see a little bit less viability, but in expanded, I could see a lot of play, like with battle compressors and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. So moving on, we got Cottony and Whimsicott. Nothing really there. Goomy, Sliggoo, and then Goodra, which I do want to kind of talk about Goodra. I think Goodra's kind of cool. So 160 HP for stage 2, not bad. It's got the attack Power Whip for 1 colorless, and this attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon times the number of energy attached to this Pokemon, which I think that's really cool.
Yep.
So you're bench sniping, or sniping anywhere really, but for 3 energy, you're doing 60 damage and just kind of go up from there. For 1 Double Dragon, you're doing 40 damage, which isn't bad. Obviously, it's a stage 2, so the amount of viability in it isn't high, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
And then it's got the attack Beat Slider for a water, a fairy, and a colorless. Does 130 damage, and then switch the defending Pokemon with one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, but your opponent chooses who the new active Pokemon is.
Okay.
It's kind of whatever. This card's never going to see play, I don't imagine.
I don't think so either.
I really like the attack Power Whip. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, we've got Castform, Patrat, Watchog, Fletchling, Fletchlander, and Talonflame. Not a lot to talk about all that kind of stuff there, so we're just going to skip past it. Then next up, we've got another really big card of the set, Aqua Patch. Again, we've already got a video out on this if anyone wants to go watch that, but it's Dark Patch for water energy.
It's
Attach
so
a basic
great.
water energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench water Pokemon. It's also important to note, it doesn't specify basic, so you can put this on, any Pokemon on your bench that's water, which is really cool.
Like a slow bro, man.
Yep, you got it. You beat me to it. I was going to say, I think the best use for this card is probably like a Turbo Lapras type deck. Or even, maybe not now, but a little bit down the line, Primarina. You could see something like that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Really, really good card. Basically, Volcanian's like crying now.
Oh, yeah.
Like it had a chance to shine with all these grass Pokemon. But now water's a thing again, so.
Yep. I don't know. I think it'll still see quite a bit of play.
Volcanion, oh sure. I just don't know how good it'll be. I mean, because I think we're going to be seeing a ton of like Turbo Lapras and things like that.
Yeah.
Lapras and Glaceon and just Water Box. So moving on, we've got Rescue Stretcher, which is an item card. Choose one Pokemon from your discard pile and put it into your hand, or choose 3 Pokemon and shuffle them into your deck. Which is kind of cool, I guess.
Okay,
There's a little bit of versatility there, depending on what you need, but at that point you kind of might want to be using Buddy Buddy Rescue, but it kind of takes the place of a Super Rod, I guess. I could probably see this in like a Mega Gardevoir deck.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
Yeah, I think that'd be the most relevant.
Maybe Ray as well.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely at Gardevoir, go get Hoopas and Shaymins and Dragonites and things like that back, which is pretty cool. So next up, we've got Mallow, which is a supporter. Choose 2 cards from your deck, and then shuffle the rest of your deck. And put those 2 cards on top of your deck in any order. Again, really cool. It's a reprint of Oracle, but again, you're just kind of like saying, "In me, I dare you."
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get away with it, it's not bad. I don't see it being played right now. Further down the line, a while down the line, we don't have in and things like that. Could probably definitely see some play, but I'm not seeing it right now. All right.
I just think even when N goes away, you're still gonna have was it Ilma or Lima?
Yeah, that doesn't see a lot of play though either. So
yeah,
but potentially. All right. Next up, we've got Hilltop Stream, which this card is dumb too. It's a stadium. Once during each player's turn, they may search your deck for either a water or a fighting basic Pokemon and play it on his or her bench.
Yep.
So just like, it's just dumb. I can't even think about it. Like, in a really dumb situation, let's say you're running 2 Wishy-Washy GXs in your deck. You have them both in your hand. Go get basic Wishy-Washy and put it on the bench. Then use the ability and switch it.
Yep.
Or if you need to get Machoke out faster. That's probably the more relevant use of the card. But
I mean, yeah.
It's a cool card. I don't know how... it'll see play. I don't know how much, but...
Yeah,
it'll definitely see them.
I don't know.
Then we got Wishy-Washy GX, the full art, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Tapu Lele full art. These are all the full arts and stuff. Okay, and then we're getting a full art Aqua Patch, which is whatever. It's really cool. And then
is it a secret rare?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, and then we're getting a full art secret rare Enhanced Hammer, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, we're getting a full art secret rare. Well, not really a full art, but just a secret rare Fighting Energy.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. Obviously, there's still some cards that we're going to get that have already been released. They're just not in this set because Japan got them earlier, which I'm not going to really cover those because those have already been out for a while. That's things like Drampa GX, Tapu Fini GX, Tapu Bulu GX, Choice Band, the secret rare Double Colorless Energy, and Choice
Waiting
Band.
on that one.
Yeah, right?
Even though I won't be able to afford them.
Well, they're not... I think they're not too bad right now. I think I saw them for like 40 or 50 bucks.
Okay.
A pop, but I mean, whatever. But anyway, so that is Sun and Moon 2. So what are your initial thoughts, Justin?
Overall, I think there's a lot of stuff that could be played. It's just going to be seeing what is actually going to be played.
Right, and we kind of talked about this earlier, off stream and all that, that there's good cards in the set that are going to be played. And then there's a lot of cards that could be played.
Like damn
You've got
Tapu
cards
Lele.
like Tapu Lele. That's got to be in every freaking deck.
Yep.
And then you got stupid cards like Sableye. That's instantly going to go into Decidueye Vileplume. Like, not even close. That's happening.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good set, especially with the cards that we know we're getting that weren't on this particular list, like Choice Band. I think Choice Band's a card that is going to see a lot of play. Just a refresher.
Yeah.
It's a tool, and it does 30 more damage whenever you're attacking into an EX or a GX, which is really cool. Kind of make up that math. We're getting a non-GX Lurantis, which has an ability that makes all of your grass Pokemon do an additional 20 more damage, which is pretty cool too.
Yep.
So all in all, I think it's a good set. Obviously, we'll get a better idea of the set here in about a month or so. I guess we're about a month out before pre-releases start and all that. Maybe a little bit longer than a month. But I'm pretty excited about the set. Obviously, you can see the game's going in a little bit different direction. It'll be kind of interesting to see how the meta game and all that kind of shifts.
Yeah, it's going to be there's going to be a lot of, adjustment period that's going to happen right after this. But
which
I'm
isn't necessarily
really
a bad thing.
No. For sure. There was a lot after, Sun and Moon 1 came out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in almost a Sun and Moon dominated set right now with Decidueye ruling the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, I think that's it. So I guess we'll call it a night, Justin.
Alright, sounds good to me, man.
Alright, well, we will see y'all next time, guys.
Alright, bye.
Bye.